Hi, it's Karis. This is my Module 7 pilot discussion video. I have all my answers written down, so if I'm looking down, that's why. But for the first question, something I found interesting on the adjustment tasks was I wanted to choose the personal habits. I almost chose a different answer regarding like personal values, but I think habits are important to be aware of when going into a marriage, especially early on, because I know like some people live together before marriage, but if you don't, especially for like personal values or religious purposes, the differences within you and your partner can be pretty drastic sometimes if you don't pay attention, and all of that's a good thing because opposites do attract a lot of the time. Sometimes things can clash, and so it's just good to have communication there. There's differences in belongings, schedules, interests, even like values and so on. Values can go anywhere from um, the time you get up or go to sleep in the day, or um, religious practices. Like for example, I'm a Christian, and so something I like to do in the morning is like read my Bible. If your partner doesn't do that, or if they read it at night, schedules can clash. Like for example, if one partner is very outgoing, the other one's a homebody, that's just something to think about because one partner might like friends over a lot, whereas you might want to go to bed early in peace and quiet and be with your partner alone. So for second question on the TED Talk, something interesting I found was like close to the beginning of the video, but I wrote, I found it interesting how most answers and questions people had regarding women about not wanting children were almost always about the spouse or the other person, basically saying that the woman's feelings were always disregarded. And although this doesn't surprise me at all, I just think it's something to point out because like especially in society, like it's always been so common for like what the lady said, for women to just be expected to like become a wife and get married and have children. And like although that's fine, a lot of women do want to do that. Like I love to do that. um that doesn't mean it's like every woman's personal goal. Like I know I still have other goals. Like I want to have a career too as well. And so I just think it is pretty messed up that most women feel like they have to, like if they don't want that, there's something wrong with them. And it just shouldn't be that way because not everyone wants kids, and a lot of the reasons could be because of health problems or because of the economic cost rates and how bringing children into the world right now might not be the best idea economically or safety wise with just all the evil things going on. Um, and then I think a good age or a reasonable age for women and men to be sterilized would be 18 or 19 because they're an adult. And I said 18 or 19 because it depends on what your state policy says regarding adult status. I know there are a few states, I think you can be 17 to be an adult. That's pretty rare, but it's usually 18 or 19. So that's why I chose those. Um, for the third question, the spanking video, I wrote two things. The first thing I wrote was I found interesting that the consistency in negative results was from spanking. And I personally think it's because of the intention that parents have behind spanking. I know a lot of the time parents just do it because they think it's going to be a quick and easy punishment to get a child to not do something again. And although this could be true, sometimes I think it really just installs fear in the child and not really like positive correction. I think it's more of like a negative reinforcement. And so a lot of children grow up in fear of doing something wrong instead of learning that there's a better way to learn to do the right thing next time. Um, there's just more positive ways to go about things, in my opinion. And then the other thing I wrote is that infants in taller ages from like 2 to 5 are the worst times actually to spank, because children develop most rapidly during those ages, and so basically saying that a lot of memories come into account during those ages, and so if you spank during those times, it's probably not the best idea for your kid. And then lastly, I do not have children, but I would love children someday. And I wrote it's because, according to the textbook, something I picked out was personal fulfillment. And I thought something interesting about that was that it said a lot of women specifically deal with less depression after having kids. And I really think it's because it might just make them feel like they're fulfilling a purpose in their lives. And maybe they just need a companion or someone to take care of. So, yeah, that's the end of my video, and I hope you enjoyed watching it.